So boys, we are back with the brand new episode of Madden NFL 18 Giants franchise mode. So last game was the first week of the season against the Dallas Cowboys, and we lost that one in overtime, heartbreaker, when Eli threw the interception, and we lost that one by a field goal. So final score 27-24 for the Cowboys, now 1-1 on the season. It kind of sucks that to be that way, but regardless, Eli, he did play pretty well though. 315 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Great game on there for the day. And Dak was 132.5 passing rating, 227 and 1 touchdown, and 0 interceptions. He was automatic all day long for the Dallas Cowboys. But rushing wise, we had a decent game, actually a terrible game rushing the football. We couldn't get anything going against that Dallas defense. Shane Vereen only 18 yards on 10 attempts. 1.8 per carry and 1 fumble right there. I think it went out of bounds for the fumble, but still not a great game for him. Whereas Zeke, he didn't have a great game either though. After he only had maybe 1 rush of like 30 yards, and the rest we just shut him down throughout the entire game. He had 1 touchdown on the rush, 3.4 per carry. And the rest we had like Eli Manning was using his legs a bit there, 12 yards and a couple first downs right there, using his legs. But receiving yards wise, receiving on the day, we have Odell Beckham Jr., 91 yards through the air on 3 receptions and 1 touchdown on the day. And whereas we have Swaim at 88 on that one, and then we had 1 touchdown from him. Shepard at 70 and a touchdown on 3 receptions. Listenby, though, he played great in relief of Brandon Marshall, 55 yards on 2 receptions and that tight touchdown. And that was actually a really good pass by Eli Manning into the end zone on a tight window to Listenby. So great. Actually, Listenby played fantastic for us though. But Jason Witten 50 yards there on the day. We had Beasley had 50, Marshall at 37 before getting injured, Ingram at 28 there, Williams 21, Vereen 19, and so on. But the next though is our blocking. But who let up sacks there though for us? For the Cowboys, there's tons, but on our end, 2 from Flowers, 2 from Hart, and 1 from Poog. And then we go to defense. I just want to look at our defense here. Defense. So 8 tackles from Casillas there. Great game out of him, though. He played fantastic. Probably his best game of his entire career so far. 3 sacks in the game and 8 tackles in total. Vernon had 5 tackles, 2.5 sacks. We had 5 tackles from Duke, 4 from JPP. We had 4 from Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, 4 from Washington, and a sack. Let's see just sacks in general, actually. Yeah, we had 3 from Casillas, 2.5 from Vernon, 1.5 from Eli Apple, 1 from Washington, 1 from Adams, and 1 from Kennard. So great game against the Dallas offensive line, though. They played pretty bad for them. But we'll go on to the next thing, which is kicking. So 1 for 1 on the day was Patrick Murray. He had the leg that allowed him to kick that field goal to tie the ball game at the end of the game. We could have scored a touchdown. I wish we would have, but just had to be that way. We tied it up and went into overtime and unfortunately lost the game. But punting wise though, it's 6 punts from Brad Wing. Kick return wise, we had 139 from Jakeem Grant. Great game out of him. We had punt return wise, 44 from Jakeem. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's go on to the next thing, which is checking out what happened for injuries. So injuries in Madden, you have to turn down the injury sliders right now if you want to actually have a decent game. Like right now, I think my injury sliders are at 30 after that game because we have 2 new injuries and they're pretty drastic though for our team. So one of them we saw during the video was Landon Collins. He's out for 4 weeks on a shoulder tear, 93 overall. He's out of the game obviously for 4 weeks. That sucks. And we have 5 from Fluker at right tackle, 26 years old, and Brett Jones was injured in the preseason, our backup center. So we have already 3 guys on the IR, or not really on the IR, but just still on the injured list. And it's only 1 week into the season, so hopefully we do not turn into a big mess, basically a hospital in the NFL, where everyone that comes here gets injured. So hopefully it doesn't be like that way. But we'll go on to the next thing, which is probably just simulating, because we could see what happened this week for the NFL. Let's go sim to week 2 and see what happened. So week 2 we are facing the Detroit Lions here, obviously in New York, first home game of the season, but we'll go take a look at what the records are in the NFC East. And right now, Cowboys on top, obviously, after the game. A winner in overtime against us last week. Right now, we're tied with the Redskins, 0-1 the season. The Philadelphia Eagles won. They're 1-0 in the season as well as Dallas. So, I guess our division, we'll go take a look at what the NFL is in general. We'll go to schedule for the league and see what happened in week 1 of the NFL season. So, was there any upsets, though? That's what I want to know. Let's see. So, New York or not in New York, New England won by 1 point against Kansas City. It's pretty surprising, actually. I thought they'd just blow them out of the water. And the New York Jets won against the Buffalo Bills, though. What happened there? So McCown must have played great for them in that game. Falcons, looks like they took an L to the Chicago Bears. Trubisky actually got his first win. Okay, that's pretty good to see that for Trubisky, but it's pretty weird to see the Falcons lost after going to the Super Bowl last season. But anyway, Ravens and Bengals. Baltimore took that W 30-22 against Cincinnati. And then we have the Browns, who won against Pittsburgh, though. How'd they win? So it looks like all these rookie quarterbacks like Trubisky, and it depends on if Osweiler or what's his name? Deshaun Kaiser is playing for Cleveland, but we'll go take a look at that one, actually, because they did play as Cleveland last season. But who took the win, though? And it looked like it was a mixture of Kessler and Osweiler, but Osweiler, more importantly, 265, 1-1, and that's how they won the game. Actually, I want to see how Corey Coleman played. And Coleman got 55 yards, but Britt, 93, 2 touchdowns. Great game out of him, though, for Cleveland. Pretty surprising to see Cleveland win that one. But we'll go take a look at the next thing, which is Arizona and Detroit. Detroit thumped Arizona, though. What the heck? 49-34. It's insane. We have Houston 23-3 against Jacksonville, 30-19 for Tampa Bay against Miami. It looks like Jay Cutler not playing that well, but we have Oakland lost to Tennessee. Okay, so Mariota won that one. Philadelphia won 20-18 against Washington, so both divisional battles in week 1 for the NFC East. But Colts, they lost to the LA Rams, though. Okay, that's kind of weird. And then we have Green Bay winning against Seattle, low-scoring game right there. San Francisco won against Carolina. Are you kidding me? So Brian Hoyer actually won that game. That's insane to see that. But then we have Dallas 27-24 against the New York Giants. And yeah, obviously we saw that one. Then New Orleans 31-28 against Minnesota. And then we have the Chargers against Denver, and Denver won that one. So one game I want to take a look at, though, is Philadelphia. And it looks like, I'm pretty sure Kaepernick, is he on the Eagles? Oh yeah, Kaepernick was on the Jets this season. I forgot about that. So Kaepernick, they won against the Buffalo Bills. He had only 10 yards passing, but 1 touchdown, 147.9 passing rating right there, with McCown winning the game also. So I guess McCown and Kaepernick playing well there in New York in week 1, and they get the W right there. So let's go take a look at our top performers of the week for week 1. C1, offensive player of the week, and defensive player of the week. I want to see if any of our players win that one. Let's go to awards and see this. So for the NFC, we have Matthew Stafford there winning Offensive Player of the Week with 383 through the air, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a great overall game right there for Detroit. He thumped. Oh, who'd they play? Regardless, they played well, though. They put up like 49 points. Then Brett Grimes for Tampa Bay had 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. It's a great game for Brent right there. As the AFC, we have Andy Dalton there, 2 touchdown passes, 302 passing yards. And we have Stewart there for Denver winning that one for defensive with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. So I guess we didn't win any this week, but I think we'll probably win some in the up and coming weeks. Right now, Eli Manning tied for first there in NFL with passing touchdowns, And let's see passing yards, though. Can we see that? 5th in NFL and 15th in passing rating. Okay. So let's go to the next thing, which is our transactions. Anything happened between week 1 and week 2? Well, is there anything happening? So we have a few signings, a few releases right there. We have anything notable? We have just Kaepernick could change his number to number 8 right there for the Jets. But let's see anything else happened. Rosas to the Browns. Okay. Oh yes. I guess they must have signed Rosas from our practice squad. Okay. Actually, no. I took Rosas off. That's right. I forgot about that. Quigley. Okay, he was released right there. Anything big though? It doesn't look like it. So nothing big happened between week 1 and week 2. But we're gonna go and sim. Our plan is to probably sim up to might be the Eagles game actually. Let's see this. So we're facing the Lions, Eagles, Buccaneers, Chargers, Broncos, Seahawks. So we might sim a couple weeks to maybe face the Chargers actually in Los Angeles. See what their new stadium looks like there. But Buccaneers, Philadelphia. Yeah, I might play the Chargers actually. So we'll sim week 5 here. Between this few weeks, take a look at the NFL, see if anything happens with big releases or trades or anything like that. But right now, I think our team is good enough to go in sim a few weeks. We have Listen B, who proved himself there in that game. They could play well in relief of Brandon Marshall. Grant is great at returning there. Shepard stepped in, played very well. We have Harris, who I think took a few punt returns, or at least I saw him on the field there. He's alright. But our offensive line, I'm not sure about that though. Right tackle Fluker is out for a few weeks, so we gotta take a look at Hart and see if he lets up any sacks next week, and see if you have to sign anybody in relief for Fluker, because we don't want to lose too many games here, because we have to win 8 games this season to meet our goal of 8 wins on the season. But defensively, our linebackers are kind of a mess right now. I saw one of the comments was to go get Navarro Bowman, which might be not that bad of an idea. Our defense, we don't spend too much of money on our defensive secondary, as Washington, like, none of these guys are big player names. Like, they're pretty much just either young or they haven't really made a mark yet in the NFL. But whereas our defensive line there, our D-line is a beast though. Like, we have JPP, Harrison, and Vernon on there, and it's just it's insane though. We played very well against that Dallas offensive line, the best in the league. So I want to see more of those sacks to come this year from JPP, Harrison, and Vernon on the D-line, whereas Dominic Garza-Camardi played pretty well, and Jenkins played decent as well too. So we just gotta hope that Landon Collins comes back quickly and will play very well when he comes back, because we're missing him in the defensive secondary there, as now it looks like Adams gets a start there instead of actually no, not Adams, Anicho gets a start there instead of Collins. So let's move on to the next thing, which is week 2 against Detroit in New York. We guys in this one, hopefully take this W against the NFC East quarterback, our offensive player of the week, Matthew Stafford. Let's in this one. Week 3 now in the season, and we lost the game though, 0-2 on the season now after facing Detroit. I mean, it's pretty much expected after facing Matthew Stafford after he was hot after week 1. But now we can finally go scout some players though, so I'm pretty happy about that. But now we have a few injury big decisions here, as Fluker and Landon Collins were cleared by doctors, but I'm pretty sure we'll just leave him on the injured list right now, because we don't want to get him injured again. But Anicho there, will go start him over Landon Collins, because we don't want to risk it at all easily, because we just don't want to do that. So Duke will start over Landon Collins this week, plus we have Fluker there, but he's cleared right there from the doctors. But we'll go and start Bobby Hart, because we can't risk that though, we cannot. So let's go start both of them, we get a little bit more XP, I'd like to see that. So we have 2 more negotiations here on the season to go and start some contract extensions here with the players, as we have Rich Westberg there, 87 overall center, and Poog. Okay, so 2 big fishes right there already to go re-sign, as pretty much both these guys will get re-signed, because they don't want too much money, I guess, for their worth. So this dude wants about 5 years, $28.9 million, a $12.9 million signing bonus. That's insane, actually. I might wait until like near the end of the season for that, but we have Poog right there, 85 overall. He wants 4 years, $27 million, and a $6.72 million signing bonus. So these guys, they're big money players, and they should deserve to get big money because they're great. So anyway, let's go and move on before we do any negotiations, so I don't want to do that yet. But we have some college scouting players first, but we'll go and take a look at the game and see how we lost to Detroit last weekend. So let's take a look at this one, and we got smoked by them, 35-13. Not good game at all for us, as we just got destroyed. So back-to-back domination by Detroit there against New York, and I don't know who they played week 1 though, but they just destroyed them as well. But in this game, Eli 218, 1 interception, 0 touchdown passes on the week, and a 69 passing rating, whereas Matthew Stafford, 258, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, 108.1 passing rating. So looks like Manning didn't play well for us at all. But rushing wise, Reddick killed us on the ground, 97 rushing yards, 25 attempts, 3.9 per carry, and 2 touchdowns on the day, whereas Vereen 57, better than last week, but 15 rushes, 3.8 per carry, and Manning 15 rushing yards, 3 per carry, and 1 fumble. He usually does that. Abdullah had a touchdown, plus Perkins had a touchdown too. So running the football, they destroyed us. And through the air, Golden Tate, 123 receiving yards on the day, 8 receptions, and 1 touchdown on the day for him, whereas Marshall had 66 on through the air. We had the 65 from Shepard, 56 from Odell Beckham Jr., 54 from Marvin Jones Jr., Braun at 48, Errol at 15, Ingram at 13, Vereen at 11, and so on. But Blocking wise though, who let up sacks? And 1 sack from Bobby Hart was let up, whereas 2 from Flowers once again. Eric Flowers has been playing terrible ever since we started him in week 1, so we gotta take a look at left tackle, see if we can improve that, because we do not need Eric Flowers sticking up the offensive line like that at all. So take a look at that position after this. But Tomlinson, 3 sacks let up for them on the day on Detroit. Defensive though, defense. Take a look at our defense as Casillas, great game once again, 13 tackles for him on the day. Washington had 8 tackles, 1 sack. Tomlinson had 7 tackles and 2 sacks, so Dalvin Tomlinson played well. Jenkins had 6 tackles on that one, 6 from Eli Apple, 6 from Duke, in relief of Landon Collins. And JPP had 5 tackles, 1 sack on the day. Harrison had 5, and so on. Let's see sacks though. We had 2 from Tomlinson, 1 from Washington, and 1 from JPP. Interceptions, no INTs on the day yet throughout the season, so 2 back-to-back weeks, no interceptions on the season yet. But kicking wise though, Patrick Murray was great though, 52 yards, he made 1, and he's 2 for 2 on the day overall. So he played great though, I like to see that. And 1 field goal made up to 39 yards, and 1 made up obviously beyond the 50. So Murray's impressing after we got rid of I think it was Rosas was our kicker before, but Murray's playing great though, and he's probably getting a lot of XP from making those field goals. But next up though, we'll take a look at the NFL in general, see who won, see who lost, see if there's any big upsets at all this season, this week in week 2. So we have Texans and Bengals there. Bengals won 30-21. Cleveland dominated Baltimore though, 30-13. I want to see this actually. Who won the game for Cleveland? And that was Brock Osweiler and Cody Kessler. So Cody Kessler, 182 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, whereas Flacco, 189, 1 interception, 55.3 passing rating. Terrible game for Flacco, and Kessler made up for that. But let's see receiving yards though. Let's take a look at this quickly. And it looks like their new tight end though, they drafted this season, 74 yards through the air. Pretty good to see that for Cleveland. Let's see rushing yards real quick. And Isaiah Crowell though, 89 yards on ground, 2 touchdowns, 3.6 per carry. Let's take a look at the rest of the NFL though. And we have Carolina winning 27-22 over Buffalo. We have 29-23 for Arizona over Indianapolis. 33-25 for Jacksonville over Tennessee. That's pretty surprising. 30-27 over Philadelphia for Kansas City. You have New England winning 25-13 against New Orleans. We have a low-scoring game between Minnesota and Pittsburgh, but it's 18-10 for Minnesota. Then you have Chicago winning another game here, 26-20 against Tampa Bay. So Mitch Trubisky playing well ever since getting the start this season, if he's actually playing, I guess. And he did play, but he had a terrible game, though. How did they win this game? So Mitch played terrible, yet they still won the game, though. How'd that happen? It must have been through rushing yards, because Jordan Howard, 94 on the ground, and Langford had 68. So their rushing game, huge for them in this game, as that pretty much single-handedly won the game for them on the day. But next up, though, in the NFL, 4 games, we have... Let's see this. We have 35-26 for the LA Chargers. We have 20-19 for Oakland over New York Jets. Then we have 44-7 over Dallas for Denver. Holy, they destroyed them. So Denver, who's even starting there? Must be Trevor Siemian, but yeah, it is. So 226 for Siemian on the day, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and Dak Prescott, he had a bad day though. Holy, 194, 3 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 42.2 passing rating. Terrible game for Dak on that one. And that helps us out though, because they're in our division. They were 1 win on the season, now they're 1-1, and we're still 0-2. So we're only 1 game back of Dallas in our division. But we'll go and take a look at the next game, which is the Washington 36-15 over the LA Rams. We had 28-16 for Seattle over San Francisco. That's what I want to see. And then we have Green Bay 31-24 over Atlanta, and Detroit 35-13 over, obviously, the Giants. That sucks to see that. But let's go take a look at our division now and see what the standings are in the NFC East. And right now, all teams 1-1 except our Giants, the 0-2 on the season. So we're not that far back, I guess. 1-1. There's no teams that are 2-0, so we're not that far back from first in our division. But we'll go take a look at transactions of first. So who is re-sign and who is traded, or see what happens actually. So Crowell, great game for him. He gets re-signed to a 4-year deal, $22.3 million deal. Then we have John Brown being re-signed by the Cardinals, Aaron Lynch re-signed by the Broncos, Spencer Ware re-signed by the Chiefs, Vontae Davis re-signed by the Colts to a 1-year deal. We have Irving re-signed by the Cowboys, Jarvis Landry re-signed by the Dolphins, Devontae Freeman re-signed by the Falcons to a 5-year deal. We have Poe being re-signed by the Falcons, Burfict re-signed by the Bengals, Eifert re-signed by the Bengals. Matthew Stafford, off that great performance against the Giants, he's re-signed to a money deal worth 4 years, $66.6 million. Then we have Ansa there from the Lions being re-signed as well. Who else is re-signed? We have Thomas Davis Sr., who else? Nate Solder re-signed by the Patriots. Malcolm Butler re-signed by the Patriots. Donald Penn re-signed by the Raiders. Anything else? Eric Decker re-signed by the Titans. And it looks like it's pretty much it. Let's go move on to the next thing, which is our stats, though. Stats-wise, we did not have a great game at all, but I mean, it's building. We're going to build up, though. Trust me on this one. Week 2, though, for NFC Player of the Week for offense. We have Larry Fitz, 122 yards receiving, and he had 2 touchdowns through the air. It's a great game for Larry Fitz, and possibly his last season in this game. But on defense, once again, Tampa Bay's Brett Grimes, back-to-back NFC Defensive Player of the Week, 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown on the day. And then we have AFC Offensive Player of the Week. We have Blake Bortles, though. Blake actually playing well in Jacksonville, 364, 2 passing touchdowns for him on the day, plus a win, I believe. And then we have Walden there. Actually, no, did he win? I'm not really sure. We'll just go check it out after. But Walden there for the Jets at 2 sacks and 15 tackles on the day, though. Insane day for him. So back-to-back weeks, back-to-back losses for us. We'll build it up eventually, but Eli's still doing... Actually, he's 30th in passing rating. That's not good at all for us. So Eli's got to pick it up if we want to go and win some games. But as of right now, we're sitting decent, though. It's not like we're, like, in a very tough division where all teams are, like, 2-0. But we're still doing very well, and I think we could probably come back eventually in this season to go maybe finish 2nd in our division or 3rd. But nonetheless, though, let's go move on to the next week, which is facing off against the Philadelphia Eagles. But first, we'll go take a look at our scouting. So, first week of scouting, 175 for points. Now let's take a look at some prospects. So, Alan Orr, first overall quarterback. He's 6'4", 235. And we should probably scout him actually too, but we're not going to pick up a quarterback though. We do not need to do that. Well, if we are going to pick up a quarterback, it's going to be one throughout the later rounds, because I want to actually develop a guy this year though, because last year we did end up picking up Keeper Pop there, 3rd overall. And I remember there was that one guy from San Francisco that was picked 1st overall, Cole Colvin. And we went, and it was kind of like a race between Colvin and Pop, see who would win a Super Bowl first. And obviously Keeper Pop came home with the Super Bowl trophy as we won it in our 3rd year. So, actually, our 3rd or 4th year, one of the two. But regardless, I didn't want to have another Keeper Pop. I wanted to actually develop a quarterback and make him into like a 90 overall kind of thing. So, select a guy in like the 4th or the 3rd round or 5th round, regardless, and see if we can develop him. If we can, that would be great to see that. It'd be an awesome story to see unfold throughout the franchise mode. But nonetheless, let's go scout some positions we need on the team. Starting with left tackle, though. We need a left tackle. Darren Zutta here in the 4th overall position. He's a pass blocker. Let's go and scout him. And he's an early 1st rounder, so there's always good to see that. Is there anything else, though? We have some linebackers, though. We need linebackers. It's good to get this guy, and he's an early 1st rounder as well. Anybody else? Cornerbacks, you don't need a corner. Strong safety, you don't need a strong safety. Free safety, though, we need one. Actually, we don't really need one. We'll go and get the positions we need right now. Tight end, we got one. Right end, we got one. Quarterback, we don't need one right now. Wide receiver, we don't really need one as well, too. It's like most of these positions, like offensively, we need O-line, basically. Free safety, I don't know. We'll go and find some linebackers, though. Linebackers, we have Combs here. He's an early 1st rounder, okay. Anybody else on here? We have right tackle, Warren Trong, and he is an early 1st round, or a late 1st rounder actually. We have another Pierre Paul here, but a tight end, Angel Pierre Paul. Okay, that's weird to see that. That'd be actually pretty funny to get him too. And he is an early 2nd rounder, so he's not that bad though. If we see him, that'd be kind of cool to pick him up. But we have Jimmy Mecklenburg. He's a left tackle, but we cannot get him scouted fully. So in this draft, it's pretty much O-line and linebackers for us, basically. Because if you take a look at this, though, all of our strengths come at, like, wide receiver. We have center, quarterback we're fine at, running back we're fine at for sure. It's just pretty much our O-line. Our tight end position will get developed because we have Ingram. He's going to develop to probably an 80 overall this season. And the rest, we just need linebackers and basically linebackers, secondary, and O-line pretty much. O-line more like right tackle and left tackle. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and take a look at this game, which is our Week 3 matchup between the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. So let's take a look first at the trade block, though. I want to see if there's anybody on here for the team. We have Teddy Bridgewater in here for some reason. I guess they do have this face, Sam Bradford there in Minnesota, but we do not need to go get Teddy Bridgewater, though. We're not going to go and abandon Eli just yet because he's Eli Manning. He's a legend. We'll go and keep him on the team. We have AJ McCarron. For some reason, they want us to get a quarterback, though. I don't know why. Let's go take a look, though, at right tackle or left tackle. Let's see right tackle first. We have a 73 overall. We're not going to get much better right there. Left tackle, we have, 73 overall. So we're not that much better off getting a guy through trade because all the guys in the trade block are all guys that are just lower than what we have right now. So let's see linebackers, actually, like a right outside linebacker. We have Willie Young, though, 79 overall from, that looks like Chicago. Use him right there. Middle linebacker, we have March Lillard, and Morrison, but they're like 70 overall. Then second one, pretty much the same. So right now, there's not really that much opportunity for us to go and get players off the trade block because they're not even good at all on the trade block. So let's go sim the next week, which is the Eagles game, and see if we finally pick up our first W of the season. Week 4, and we lost once again. They're 0-3 in the season. Oh, it just kind of sucks to see that. But regardless of, like, year 1 is pretty much a write-off for any franchise mode because you don't really want to make the playoffs or win the Super Bowl in year 1 because it just gets boring if you do that. So I kind of want to start off starting from the bottom, then rising to the top, just like we did with Cleveland, where we had like 2 wins on the season with Cleveland. Then next season we had like 8, then like 13, and so on. So I just want to build it up there, get to the top, start from the bottom, get to the top. Pretty much that's what I want the story to be. So week 3 of the NFL season, I want to see what happened though against those Philadelphia Eagles though. We lost 22-18, heartbreaking loss there, only lost by 4 points, but still a loss nonetheless. So week 3, sorry, against the Eagles, let's see this. So quarterback wise, Carson Wentz 172 on the day, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Eli played well though, 250 and 1 touchdown, but 91.7 passer grading. Okay. And Matt McGloin at 66 and a 78.1 passing rating. Okay. But next thing is rushing yards. So rushing makes a huge difference throughout the game, and it looks like they dominated us on the rushing game. Darren Sproles, 109 yards rushing, 25 attempts, 4.4 per carry, whereas LeGarrette Blount, 40 on the ground, 1 touchdown, 4 per carry. Whereas Vereen, 38 on the ground, 2.7 and 1 rushing touchdown. Ryan Matthews, 18 and a rushing touchdown. Perkins at 13. So I don't think our running backs are getting it done, or pretty much our offensive line is getting it done for the holes to be opened up. So something is going wrong there, as our running backs cannot get anything going this season yet. But at least Brandon Marshall, first big game as a Giant, 109 yards through the air, 8 receptions, 13.6 per reception. Darren Sproles at 53 in the day. Let's see, they actually sorted here. Shepard at 84 and a touchdown, first big game of his career. Then we have Alshon Jeffrey, 67 and a touchdown for the Eagles. Darren Sproles had 53 on receiving yards. So great all-purpose day for Darren Sproles. He had like over 100 yards rushing and 53 through the air. But Torrey Smith there, 49. We have Jordan Matthews there, 37. Ingram at 34. Ertz at 32. And only 14 yards for OBJ on the day, though. We got to use him way more if we want to win some games. That just sucks. Blocking wise, let's see who let up sacks. And it's Lane Johnson, and guess what? Eric Flowers once again. So, like, right now, our left tackle position is a mess. Eric Flowers not getting it done whatsoever. We got to make a decision here at left tackle, though. I was going to let him off for last week to see if he can go rebound, but he's letting up sacks every single game. That's not good for us. We got to improve on that. Defensively, though, defense. Let's go do our Giants. We have 11 tackles from Terry Washington, 10 from Gasilis. We have 1 sack from Washington on the day. Who else actually did for sacks? So he had 1 from Washington, 1 from Vernon, half a sack from Janoris Jenkins, half a sack from Dalvin Tomlinson, and so on. So Dalvin Tomlinson playing well, but it looks like finally our secondary got our hands on the football and actually caught it, with Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie getting his first interception on the season, along with Eli Apple. So I'm loving to see our corners getting interceptions because it's just boring me that we didn't get any before this week. But we finally got 2 with Rodgers-Cromartie and Eli Apple. But now let's go move on to the next thing, which is kicking. And perfect throughout the season so far is Patrick Murray, 1 for 1 today. 42 yards out was the field goal. Punting-wise, 5 punts for Brad Wing. Kick return-wise, 78 from Harris. Punt return-wise, 2 from Jakeem Grant. And the rest, let's go and take a look at the NFL season, see if there's any upsets, and so on. So week 3, we have a few upsets here. I believe we do, at least. We have 20-10 for the LA Rams. It's either, like, both LA teams are actually playing well this season. I'm actually pretty surprised. But then again, this one's against San Francisco, so it's pretty much automatic for a win. But Jacksonville 26-14 against Baltimore. It looks like Blake Bortles wins yet another game this season, so Blake Bortles getting it done there in Jacksonville. But the next, though, we have 26-27 for Denver against Buffalo. Heartbreaking loss for the Buffalo Bills. 31-28 for Carolina over New Orleans. We have 39-31 for Pittsburgh against Chicago. 21-19 against Detroit for Atlanta. I like to see Detroit lose because we just lost against them. But Cleveland, their winning streak comes to an end as Indianapolis wins 27-12 against them in Indy. We have 16-9 for Minnesota. With Minnesota, every single game has been low scoring though, I'm surprised. But Houston 39-17 for... Wait, Houston actually won against New England, so 39-17 win for Houston. Big upset this week as Tom Brady takes the L in week 3. So no perfect season for Tom Brady in his 40th year on this earth. But take a look at the next thing, which is 35-27 for Miami against New York right there. The other New York team, obviously the Jets. But 22-18 for Philadelphia over the Giants. Obviously, we saw that one. Seattle 38-24 against the Tennessee Titans. Then we have 39-31 for Green Bay against Cincy. We have 39-24 for LA against Kansas City. So both LA teams get the W here in week 3. And then 39-19 for Washington against New Oakland. That's actually pretty surprising. And Dallas 37-32 against Arizona. So Dallas wins another game. Dak rebounds. I want to see if Dak actually played well this game. He probably did. Dak Prescott, and he played pretty well though. 3 touchdowns through the air, 391 passing yards, 114.7 passing rating. Great game for him. But let's take a look at that game for Houston though. They played big though. Tom Savage must have got the W there. Or it could have been Watson too. And it looks like Deshaun Watson gets a start and wins a game with 258 through the air, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tom Brady played well, but their defense did not hold enough as they just let up a big scores to Houston. But Tom Brady 296, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on the day. Rushing yards though, we had Lamar Miller playing well. That's probably why. Receiving yards though, we have Edelman 131, and they didn't get the W on the day though. We have Hopkins though at 79 and 2 touchdowns. Let's see defense though. They must have got some big plays here. Let's see for Texans. Anything big for them though? And there wasn't really anything big for them at all. It just pretty much, the offense played very well against the Patriots defense, and the defense did not hold as they usually do. But nonetheless though, another week in the NFL season. Let's take a look at the NFC East. See our position. We're probably dead last, and we are 0-3. Whereas the rest of the teams though, positive records over 500, as the Redskins 2-1, Cowboys 2-1, and the Eagles 2-1. So, it just sucks to see that, but man, this is brutal. So we're dead last in the division. Our team is struggling, yet it's just all basically due to offensive line though. That's what I'm going to blame it on. And right now, Eric Flowers is not getting it done at left tackle though. He's got slow development. He is 23 years old, but slow development does not handle it here in New York. I think it might be time we trade Eric Flowers either this week or next week or the upcoming weeks. I might give him one more chance. If he blows it once again, he's gone out of New York though. I'll let you guys decide in the comment section below if we should trade Eric Flowers or to sign another player and demote him to backup, because I mean, he does have a little bit of trade value. He is young, only 23 years old, 75 overall. Only thing is his development is slow, so gotta keep that in mind for the trade. But anyway, let's move on to the next thing, which is actually one thing though. We could also go and promote Greg Van Roten to left tackle regardless too. We could actually do that. Maybe if it works. So I actually want to see this though. Would Greg Van Roten play well at left tackle? So Greg is a 74 overall at left tackle. Okay. So we could try an experiment here. Do we go and put Van Roten here at left tackle? See how well he plays. If he plays well, we'll keep him there. But I don't know. Should we do that right now? We have John Jerry there. Is John Jerry? He's probably starting, obviously. And yeah, he's starting. Okay, so left tackle. Should we put Van Roten in right now? Like, we could just do that right now because he's pretty decent. He's all right. Greg Van Roten. Should we do it? We'll move him up right there, regardless. But Greg, should we try it? Let's see some stats though. So 84 strength, 76 pass block, 70 run block, 79 impact blocking, 85 stamina. Okay. So I might go and actually start Greg Van Roten this game though. I want to see if this would actually work for us. Because if it does, that'd be great for us because we need to get some W's here. And that all starts with pass protection and run block. Let's go move Van Roten to starters, see how well he plays. If he plays well, we'll leave him there. Let's go move on to the next thing, which is our Week 4 matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New York Giants. So Tampa Bay 1-2 on the season. We're 0-3, but first let's go do some scouting before we do anything else. So last time we went and scouted some left tackles, some right tackles, some outside linebackers, and so on. But let's go and actually find and see if there's any decent players for us that we need. Like, we could just find O-line in general, actually, move him around if we need to. But you have Teron Kelly here, 23 years old, and he is a late first rounder. Okay. Who else is on here? Who did we not finish, actually? We didn't finish a guy, Mecklenburg. He's a late third rounder. Anything else? We have right guard Tucker DeLong. He is pretty decent, actually. He's alright. We have Griffin Parsons here. He's a late first rounder. So it's got some decent offensive line talent here within the second round. That's not too bad for us. Always like getting offensive help here in the second round because usually it's a pretty good player here to find for the O-line in the second. But Stanley Gibbons is terrible. Anything else? We got some corners here, but we have Widmer. He's terrible as well. Why'd I spend my money on that? We have Joey Howell. He's bad too. So we got a lot of bad players here. Not too many gems here in like the 70s spot, but we have a few great players so far in this scouting, as we have guys like Tucker DeLong, Griffin Parsons, a great guy. We have Mecklenburg, who's terrible. Teron Kelly, though, I want to get this dude in the draft. We also have Trulong, who's alright too. We have Combs, who's alright too. And we have probably the dime of the dozen, which is either Hamilton or Zutta there in the top 10. But anyways, move on to the next thing, which is, what's even on here actually? We have, I guess, transactions though. Any big signings or re-signings? We have Trey Boston re-signed by the Chargers. Newhart was re-signed by the Colts. Frank Gore was re-signed by the Colts. Chris Jones was re-signed by the Cowboys. Lowell Collins re-signed by the Cowboys. Jordan Sproles re-signed by the Eagles. Okay, Jordan Matthews and Bradham. Matt Bryant re-signed by the Falcons. Ricardo Allen re-signed by the Falcons. Carlos Hyde re-signed by the 49ers. Allen Robinson was re-signed by the Jaguars. Anything else? Demario Davis re-signed by the Jets. Okay. And Kirk Cousins re-signed by the Redskins. So finally, Kirk Cousins is staying in Washington after he re-signs to a 4-year deal worth $67.1 million. Terrell Pryor Sr. re-signed by the Redskins after signing the 1-year deal with them this season in the NFL. And Zach Brown re-signed by the Redskins. Cam Chancellor also re-signed by the Seattle Seahawks. Thomas Rawls re-signed by the Seahawks. Anything else? So Sam Bradford re-signed by the Vikings. Okay. So maybe that means that Teddy Bridgewater could mean he might be out of Minnesota this season because they're both similar overalls. Bridgewater might want to start somewhere else. He might get traded this season in this franchise mode. But next up, Texans re-signed DeAndre Hopkins. And anything else, that's pretty much it. So, next game here we have Tampa Bay. And we also have LA. I kind of want to play LA because we haven't played them yet this season. Or even in general. I just want to see what they look like in LA. But do you play Tampa Bay or LA? That's the question. Tampa, you're facing off against Jameis Winston and Mike Evans. Two great quarterback and wide receiver duo right there. Whereas LA, you're facing off against, I'm pretty sure Philip Rivers is in LA right there, like he's not injured or anything. I'm pretty sure he's starting right now. And they have just a few decent players. So it might be more of an explosive matchup for us to face the Buccaneers in week 4. I might actually play the Buccaneers this week. So next episode, Greg Van Roten gets his first start at left tackle. If he plays well, we'll keep him there. Plus you guys decide if we should trade Eric Flowers or not. I kind of want to trade him, but it's pretty much, if you want to trade him, I'll probably trade him. So Eric Flowers on the trading block. Actually might do that right now. See if we get any good offers for him right now. Add him right there to the trade block. So should we trade him? I don't know if we should. I don't know if we should not. So anyway, I guess on this episode off right here, make sure to like and subscribe for more Giants franchise mode. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.